Okay, so yesterday we started talking about strings, right? We discussed about how to declare a string, right? We used single quote, double quote, triple quotes. We saw how to do indexing, how to read single character or multiple characters from a string. And then towards the end, we saw like addition of two string, how can concatenate two string or how can multiply a string with a variable, right? Now, today, yeah, there's one concept, and then we will talk about built-in functions, okay? Different functions that you can do. So, for how to use strings in for loop, okay? So I told you when you write for I in range, okay? So range is also a function, right? So each of these are different thing. This is like, unlike C++ or Java, this is not a complete uh, for specific thing, okay? So you are adding multiple things here. For is for loop variable in, and this is to generate values, right? Now, instead of using range, if I write hello, so that's also a way to generate value, right? This is going to generate value HELLO, right? And how many times this loop will run? Okay, so first time I will be H, second time I will be E, third time I will be L, then again L, then again O. So this is another way of running your loop 5 times, correct? So I can say print I, okay? So this is another way of running your for loop. Okay, so now when I say, so you are running I and I becomes HELLO, right? Now I can, if I have to use this, okay, so let's say I declare this as string one, hello, and then you put a string one, right? Now, if you want to, if you want to run it like a range, okay, then how can we do it range? So you can say for I in range of len of, right? So len of str1 will give you number of characters in str1. So 5, because len of str1 is 5, right? So it's as good as saying range of 5. Now, when I say range of 5, I will be 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, isn't it? Now, if I want to print the character, then I can say str1 of I. Because first I will be 0, then 1. So it will be like str1 of 0, str1 of 1, correct? So now when you run it, you actually get hello, right? So this is how you can go through string. You can iterate through a string and get the value from specific position, right? So different ways of handling string. Now I want to know um, how many characters are capital and how many are small, for example. How many characters are small and how many characters are capital in this case? Now, in this case, what I have to do, I have to take each value and then check whether it is capital or small. So, so this is where, okay, sorry guys. This is where we need to use functions, okay? Functions which are specifically designed for string, okay? So see, when we were doing type, correct? So if I say type of str1, what do you get? You get class string, right? What did I say? I wanted to do type of str1. So type of str1 will give us the data type of str1, right? So you say class. right? Now, what is class? Okay. Now we'll just discuss little bit about class. And anyway, we are going to do class later, right? That would be our almost like last topic in Python. So class, okay, is a concept, okay, to okay. So in simple terms, it is to club your variables and functions together. Okay. It is to club your variables and functions together. That's the purpose of class. So when they club variables and functions together, it is like a relevant function. Okay. So look at this way. If I tell you that I'm eating an apple, correct? So you'll say, okay, so what, right? And you will have no questions, right? Because you know what apple is and you know what eating means. Okay. So because okay, you've been trained with Apple, you know what Apple is, right? You know you have seen Apple before, you have read about Apple before, right? So you know what I'm eating, correct? So when you know something, okay, and you group it as a object, that is your class. So class is just a group of okay certain features, right? Now, if I tell you that I'm playing cricket with Apple, then you'll be shocked. Like, how can you play cricket with Apple? You don't associate playing cricket as a property with Apple, right? So class, okay, means this definition that you have of Apple, right? And of course, it will have variables. Variables could be like color, shape, size, okay, which um, okay, which place it belongs to, right? You have different varieties of apple. So those are like our variables, right? And then you have property like eating or, making custard, making something else, right? So these are different properties that you associate with apple. So treat class as a specific object with some definition, okay? Then you also have something called an object itself. Now, what is object? Object is the actual usage of class. So if we talk about apple, right, it is imaginary. It is something that we know what it is, right? But we can't touch it, we can't eat it until we actually hold an apple. So class is just the definition. Okay, you define okay properties, you put them together, we call it as class. But when you actually use it, it becomes object. Okay. So when we talk about string, string, right? That is just about talking about class string. Okay. That is just talking about class string. If I tell you, you can handle any text, you can handle any characters. That is about talking about string. That is class string. But the moment I say string, string one, str1 equal to hello, I'm talking about object. I'm talking about specific class, specific, object, which is type of class string. So this is like creating object of class string. So class is just the definition. Class is just the definition. What will define? It will define few variables and few functions. It will define few variables and few functions. Okay. And when you use it, it becomes object. Okay. So class is just a definition. And when you create a member of it, we say we are creating object of it. Okay. Now, functions we've been using, right? Type is a function, range is a function. But when you declare a function inside a class, they're called as methods. So methods are functions. Exactly, I'm talking from the Python sense, okay? In Python, methods are functions, exactly like functions. But they are not independent functions like print or type or range. They are part of a class. So when I talk about specific properties of string, I'm talking about specific methods like eating apple, I said, right? Eating, playing. Those are like properties. So string also has its setup functions or methods. So functions used inside a class are called as methods. So that's the difference between methods and functions. So functions you can directly use like this, but to use method, you have to call object of the class. I have to call object of the class. So do we have an object of a class string here on this, on your screen? We have, right? str1 is object of class string. Now, if I have to call methods, I have to say str1 dot. The moment you say dot, you see all these M are your methods. Okay, and string has good number of methods. We are going to see most of them. Okay, these are all methods. They have specific task. Okay, they are created to perform specific task. Okay, so these are your methods up to Z fill. Okay, and how do you access these methods? You have to create an object, right? And then say dot, object dot. So when I create object of class string, so object dot will give us methods related to class string, to string, right? If I create object of class, say list, I will get methods related to class list only, right? So Python will allow us to access. Now, I cannot say playing cricket with Apple because that's not a valid method of Apple. Similarly, I cannot use something which is not given here on your screen because that you cannot use in, you can only use these methods. Okay, so let's see some of these. Now, there are some set of methods, okay, which starts with is, right? So you have is alnum, is upper, is lower, is alpha, is title, is numeric. All these is methods will return either true or false. So is like asking question. Is it alphanumeric? Is it uppercase? Is it lowercase? Is it an alphabet? Is it in title case? Is it a numeric? Is it a space? Is it a digit? Is it ASCII value? Is it a decimal? Right? So similarly, so is like asking a question, is it? And answer is either true or false. Okay, it will return you true or false. Now, I need to question was to check whether characters are alpha, lower case or uppercase. So is lower will return true if it is lower case. Okay, is upper will return true if it is uppercase. So my question was, how many uppercase and lowercase you have? Okay, so I can say str2 equal to how are you? Okay, now I will define two variables. Okay, I'll say upper count, comma, lower count equal to 0, 0, right? So I've decided, okay, it is 0, 0. Now I can say for I in, okay, str2. So when I say for I in str2, I'm iterating through str2. I will be first H, then O, then W, then space, then A, then R, then E, so on, right? So I can check, okay? I is also a string, isn't it? When it gets one character, that's also a string, okay? In Python, whether it is single character or multiple characters, it's treated as string only. So if I dot lower means I'm checking, is it lower case? If I dot lower, then you will increase the lower case count. Right? Now I'm going to check if I dot upper. I will increase upper case count. You want to count number of spaces, you can give spaces dot count. Right? I'll make this as 0. Okay? Now you check if I dot is space, then you say SP, right? SP count plus equal to 1. So this is how you can check if it is uppercase, lowercase, right? Or is it space? And then you can say here print if number of spaces equal to SP count, uppercase letters, okay, equal to UP count, and lowercase letters equal to LO count. Correct? Now, when you run it, it tells you number of space. So, number of spaces, you have 1 and 2. Correct? So, you get 2. Uppercase, 12 it says. Is it correct? Something wrong. Is it 12? No, it can't be 12, right? 3, 4, 5. Lowercase is 4, correct? What has happened? Is it? Definitely it's not 12, right? Okay. Let's print and see what is happening here. Let's print I, because this is where we are counting upper, right? So let's print I. So I'm going to say I here. Let's see how many times it goes inside. For every character it is upper, right? Right? It is upper, not upper, right? Upper will convert into uppercase. So so it converts into uppercase, right? So that's why it's going inside this every time. So it's actually giving you number of characters. Now you see. Uppercase 5, 3, 4, and 5. Yeah? You got it, right? Now you see, okay, when you enter value, when you input value from the user, right? Now what we do generally, we say value 1 equal to int of input, correct? Enter a number, right? And then what we do, we say, okay, let's say we want to multiply the number with 5. So we'll say val into 5. So you say val into 5, correct? Now when you run it, okay, and here I say 10, okay, it works. 10 into 5 is 50. But if I run it, okay, and now if I enter by mistake t, what happens? You get error, value error. Okay. Now you cannot blindly convert, okay, a value into input. This is what we've been doing so far, right? And we are trusting the user. We are assuming that user will never give wrong value. User will always give us correct value. This is what we are assuming, that user will always enter a valid number. But you can't control what user enters, right? User can enter anything. So your program should not fail, should not give you error. Then one way is, and we will do later how to do error handling, but one way here is, before you convert into integer, you take the value and check if val1 dot is digit, right? If this is the case, then you convert val1, okay, as int of val1, and then you print your val into 50. Otherwise, you say print invalid, invalid value, right? So you need to check if user has entered valid number or not, 55. So you get 275. Okay, but if I enter 5t, okay, so there's no error now. You are handling it properly. Your program should not give error. That's the first thing you have to handle. You have to predict what kind of mistakes can happen or what kind of errors can come into your program. Okay, so we cannot simply blindly convert input into int, because we cannot control what user enters. but you can only control your program. So one way is that before you convert into integer, just check is it valid number or not. If user has not entered numbers, has entered something else with character, special character, okay, that's when you will say invalid value. Your program will not give error, right? So these are applications of is upper, is lower, is space, is digit, okay, is alnum, okay. Alnum means alphanumeric. Now you tell me, okay, if I declare a string as hello 123. Now if I perform is alnum, will it give true or false?
False, I think.
Why false?
It has string as well in that.
No, alphabet means string only, no. So
Yeah.
alnum means alphabet or numeric, right?
Oh, you're asking is it a numeric?
Yes.
Then it will be true.
True?
Yeah.
Now others, do you think is it
It is
true?
true, sir.
It is true?
It is string, so
True.
it is just
Because numeric.
It is alphanumeric. So will it be? So I'm checking. Okay, str3 dot is alnum, right? You have is alnum. Al means alphabet. Num means numeric. Is it alphanumeric? True or false? Will it be true or false?
false,
False.
Why false?
because the string it's a string, pure string.
So pure string means what? It has alphabet and number, right? This is a property of string only. This is what I've been talking about, right? Is a num is a property of string only, correct? String is a class here. String is a class, and we are talking about properties of class only, right? So we are talking about properties of class only. This is what the topic is for today, string. Is this string alphanumeric? Is it alphabet or numeric? Alphabet, so alphanumeric means it can have alphabet or it can have numbers. Nothing else.
What about
This
this?
is also a string only, correct? Okay. 5t is also a string. Even 50 is also a string. 50 is also a string. So this digit is giving true because it has only digits. So I'm not checking is it alphabet or alphanumeric. Does it have alphabet and numbers? And or both is valid here. It may have or may not have. So does it have only alphabet and numbers?
No, space is there.
Space is there, yes. Space is neither alphabet nor number. Right? So if I print here, it will be false because of space. Okay, we have only 26 alphabets and 10 digits, numbers, 0 to 9 and A to Z. Space is not an alphabet. So this is going to be false. Okay, so I have to move this to different file.
So there is no method to select and execute that part of the code only like we do in SQL.
One second, let me first finish it, then I'll take your question. Okay. So this is false. Why? Because you have space. Right? Space is neither alphabet nor number. So this will be false. And if I delete this space, then it is true. Nor it has only alphabet and number. If I remove 1, 2, 3, then also it is true. Right?
Still
It can
true.
be alphabet or number. Like for example, when you enter username, right? And mostly username will have condition that you can have only alphabets or numbers, nothing else. Okay. In that case, you will use alnum. If user enters any special character or any space, anything apart from alphabet or number, it will give you false. Okay. So you can give only alphabet, you can give only number, you can get alphabet or number. Okay. All valid. Moment you give something else, you give dot, it becomes false. Moment you give space, it becomes false. This is your alpha num for you. Okay, so what was the question? Is there not a way to do what? Sorry?
So execute only, like how we select in SQL a certain part of code and then execute the
How do you
result.
select in SQL certain part of code? Give me an example of SQL query.
Suppose say there are multiple selects written, okay, 4, 5 selects. So we want to write only particular fourth or fifth select, suppose say. So we just select the fifth one and then press F5. So it
Okay,
will-
okay, now I got it. Okay, so you're talking about, okay, you have 31 lines of code. I want to run only this line of code. Now, so what we are using is called editor. Okay, your PyCharm is an editor. VS Code is an editor. In editor, you don't have that option. Okay,
Okay.
you cannot, run a part of a code like, you want to run only this line. You want to run only line number 20, right? That's what you mean to say, correct?
Yes, right.
Yes. So in editor, you cannot do it. But if
No.
you're using notebook, right?
Uh-huh.
Colab is a notebook.
Mhm.
Your Jupyter is a notebook. There you can do that.
Okay.
Okay, so that facility is only there in the notebooks, not in editors. Editor, you will run entire. There's no way to select and run. Okay, you'll have to
Mhm.
run entire first to last.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because every time you need to move to different files, no, that's why I was asking.
Correct. So, so again, if I have to run and select, right, it becomes a little confusing, right? So what happens is this I'm moving because I have to share this code with you again after the session, right? So that's why I keep saving here so that I'll just copy and paste and send you after the session. That's why I'm moving it.
Yes, yes.
Otherwise, yeah.
And output also like becomes difficult or everything comes, no?
Right. Okay, so editor does not have that option, only notebooks. Okay, so you can use either notebooks like Colab or Jupyter. Okay, so they have that features. Editors, okay, like VS Code, PyCharm, they don't have that feature. So it's not part of your editor. Okay, so those are about is methods, right? Is will always give you true and false, and the other is try. Okay, so how do you try? You say str1 equal to how are you, and you keep trying to see what each of those is gives you, right? That's your assignment. Okay, we have tried is digit, right? Is alnum, is space, is lower, is upper, we have tried. Try with alpha, numeric, title, ASCII, see what each of these things mean, right? Try that. Okay, now also you need to understand the documentation, okay? Python is a very well documented language. That means there is everything that you want is available in documentation. How do you access documentation of Python? It is docs.python.org. Python.org is the website, right? We discussed on day one itself. It has something called as documentation there. Okay, let me show you. Python.org is the website where you'll find everything, right? Right from installation to documentation. So you go and click on documentation here or here. Okay, the same thing. So it takes you to docs.python.org, and 3 indicates that version 3, right? So we had version 1, very, very old. Version 2, which is discontinued, right? 2.6 was the last version. And then you have version 3, right? So version 3, you have 3.1, 3.2. So right now we are using 3.12 is available. Okay, the 3.13 is in development stage itself. So by default, it will open the latest available version, right? So if you are using 3.12, you can go to 3.12 or you can choose your version from here. Then you go and type string. Type string. Okay. Then you see these are the different topics which are there. So token.string, this is regular expression.match.string. Okay, so we are interested in Python module string. Click here. So these are different functions, you see. string dot digits. Okay. So this is complete tutorial on string. So you should always, okay, remember this documentation when you're working, and if you get stuck, okay, this is the first place you will go and get this. Okay. We'll talk about this format, what this format. This is very similar to what we did using format string. Okay. So you'll find all information here. Right? This with example here. Okay. Now, if you want to know what is ASCII is, for example. So you go here, you say is ASCII. Okay. So it tells you, so it has str is ASCII. This is what we want, not bytes or cursors. Okay. str dot is ASCII. You go here. Okay. Then it talks about returns true, the string is empty, or all characters in the string are ASCII. False otherwise. ASCII characters have code points in the range U plus 000 to J plus 007F. Right? So this is how you can get to the documentation of each of these functions. You can get this. Or, okay, so this is going to the documentation, right? Or what you can do is, in the program itself, sorry. In program itself, okay, you can say help of a string dot say okay, we saw for is ASCII, right? So let's see is ASCII. Don't give this bracket, okay? Just give is ASCII, just like that you have there, right? And now you run it. You see, it gives you documentation here also. Same thing, right? What you saw there is here. So you don't even have to go to documentation page. You can, using help function, you can get this, right? And help function has help about all the functions and methods, right? So if I want to know what help does, you want to know about help only. So you say help of help. Help is a function, not a method, right? So you put help. Don't put bracket, okay? Just the name of the function. Help of help. So this is what help of help gives you here. Defines the built-in help. This is a wrapper around pydoc.help that provides a helpful message when help is typed at the Python interactive prompt. Right? So it gives you the documentation here itself in the program. So we have a method or function rather called help. Okay, so you can check what each of the methods or function does before you use them. Right? You can go to docs.python.org or you directly type help and you will get it. Make sense? Okay. Now let's talk about non-is, right? Functions, right? We haven't discussed, we were only talking about is functions. So let's, it didn't get copied. Control X, Control B. Yeah. So, okay. Right? So simple one will start with, so let's say you have str1 equal to, again, how are you? Right? Now I want to convert this into uppercase. So what I'll do, I'll simply say print str1 dot upper. You want lowercase, right? So you say str1 dot lower. You want title case. Okay, str1 dot title. Okay, is title is asking the question, is it in title case? And title is like converting into title case. So upper will convert everything into uppercase. right? So let's say if you have long text and you want to convert every text into uppercase, you copy the text, bring to Python, you simply say dot upper and then, take it back to your wherever you want to use, right? One simple click and everything gets converted into uppercase. One simple line of code. Dot upper, everything into upper. Dot lower, everything into lower. Title is like first character of every word. Okay? First character of every word is converted into title case. Even if I write, let's say O capital, this will convert O into lowercase, right? So this is your title case, first character of every word. Okay. Okay. Now, now let's look at some of other functions which are helpful for operating on strings, right? Which you can use to work on string. So I'll start with count replace first. Okay. So let's say you have string 1 and I want to count, okay, how many O's are there, right? So I will say, and let's say I put one more O today. Okay. So I want to count. Okay. So I'll say print. Okay. Okay, guys. One more thing I want to tell you before we move ahead. Strings are immutable. What is immutable? Immutable means you can't edit. You can replace, but you can't edit. So for example, if I say str1 of 3, str1 of 3 will be space, correct? 0, 1, 2, 3. I cannot say equal to A. I want to replace only one character here. Then I cannot do it. Okay? Okay, str object does not support item assignment. You cannot say equal to. This is like editing. I can say str1 equal to something else. Okay, I can say str1 equal to something else, but I cannot directly assign. This is, that's why we say strings are immutable. Once you define it, you can't edit it. You can't edit. Immutable. Values are permanent. Until unless you change it, right? I can say something like this. I can say, I want to replace str1 of 3, right? I can say str1 equal to str1 of 0 to 3. So 0 to 3 means it will take 0, 1, 2. Then I can add A to it. And then I will say str1 of, okay, we already handled 3, right? So from 4 onwards, take the value from 4 onwards. Now this is possible. This is what we are trying to do there. Okay, we have to use longer way to do it because you can't edit, right? Now you see how A are you today? Because you can't edit the original value. So all the functions that we can talk about, like upper, lower, title, these are all going to give us a new string. All of these will give us a new string. Original string is not changed. That's why you see, even after doing upper, lower, title, here when I'm doing this, it gave us like original value only. H capital, O capital, right? U capital, because original values are not changed. Okay? Original values are not. If you want to change it, you have to say str1 of title, right? If you want to change it, you have to say str1 of title. That's when you are changing it. Otherwise, no, str1 will remain what you give as original value. With me? So that's why we say strings are immutable. And we'll talk about as we go along, right? Lists are mutable and tuples are immutable. We'll talk about them as we go along. But for now, understand that string value you cannot edit. You can replace. You can replace anything. You can replace. This is replacing. This is replacing. But you cannot perform editing. You cannot just replace a part of a string. You cannot change original value using upper, lower, title, or whatever, right? You cannot do that. All right? Okay. Let's
Something
do,
you can
yes.
override, right?
Yeah,
For
this is what
example,
we are overwriting, correct?
okay.
Yeah, you can overwrite. So it's like you're replacing basically, you're saying that I don't care what you had, now you have this, which is fine. But if you say that, oh, you have this, take this also, you can't do it.
Okay. Sounds good.
Yeah. So now we'll talk about count. Okay, so I want to count how many O's are there, right? So I will say CNT or something equal to str1 dot count. Now you see, okay, any good editor will tell you the syntax also, right? How to use it. So count, you can say count, and then see, ignore self. Every method will have self. Every method will have self. Why self? We'll talk about when we learn to declare class. But for now, just understand that every method will have self. And you can ignore. You don't have to give value for that. It is like an indicator that it is part of method. Okay, that's an indicator. So ignore self, and you will learn when we create our own class and objects and methods, right? We'll see that. So ignore self, okay? It is only to tell you that it's a method. So every function that has self as a first input parameter are your methods, okay? So this is self. Then you have X, start and end. X is compulsory. That means you want to count how many X is there in the original string. So how many X is there in str1? That's your objective. Your objective is to find number of X in your original string str1. Start and end is not mandatory values to give. It indicates that I want to find, okay, X only from 5th to 10th character or from 3rd to 9th character. If I don't give, if I simply say O, okay, it is going to check in the entire string. Okay, it will check in the entire string. So I'll say print CNT, right? So how many O's are there? 2 O's, right? Because I'm checking for capital O. How many capital O are there? Strings are case sensitive. So how many capital O are there? 2 capital O, right? So it gives you 2, right? Now I want to check, okay, capital O between, let's say I want to exclude this. So I'll say between 3 to 15 characters. So now the counting starts from 3rd. Okay, 0, 1, 2 is gone. I'm checking from here till the end or 15 characters. So you're excluding the first O, right? So you get now only 1 O. So this is your start and end. Okay, X, comma, start, comma, end. End and start are not compulsory, not mandatory values. If you don't give, it will take from beginning till the end. Okay, now I want to count this O also here. What should I do? See, I gave capital O, so it converted into capital O, right? But I want to count, okay, all 3 O's. Then what should I do?
You have to give
Irrespective
both
of the
that,
case. I want to count irrespective of the case. Yes, sorry.
or you convert it to one uppercase or lowercase and then count
Which one should I convert into uppercase or lowercase?
the string itself.
String itself, right?
Yeah.
So I will say dot. Since I'm using capital O, I'll convert into uppercase, right? So now you see, this is your string. I'm converting into uppercase. And now this entire thing, I'm doing count O, right? Now see, only, see, I told you it is immutable. So when I do upper, only at this place, this is uppercase, right? I'm not changing the original string. So you get 3 now, right? Or you can say lowercase, convert into lower, and then you check for small o, right? Then you'll be able to check all those, right? Right? So you don't know, okay, the string may have capital, small O's, right? I don't know. So I will bring it to a level which is comfortable for me. I'll bring it to all lower. I'll convert into all lower and then I'll count for O. Correct? Then because if I convert into lower, I know that it will have only lower text, lowercase text, right? Then I can count easily, right? So we'll stop here for today. Okay, we have few more, set of functions, and we'll do few more examples when we meet on Thursday. All right?
Thursday.
Yes, Thursday.
Sir, sorry.
You
Not
Vivek,
Monday.
is it?
Sorry.
Are you Vivek?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, you joined the session late, so we will not have session for next 3 days.